Two charged in connection with Grand Bahamas power investigation. A traffic mishap impacting traffic near the domestic airports. And students taken to the stage as the National Arts Festival comes to Grand Bahama.
The Bahamas Tonight Northern Edition starts now.
This is the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening, all. I'm Megan Shepard. Thank you so much for tuning in. Topping news, two men facing charges in connection with that electricity diversion probe at the Grand Bahama Power Company. You may recall that the power company disclosed that an audit uncovered that scores of customers were either connected directly to their system via a meter bypass, or the meters were tampered with to underread the actual usage, resulting in a loss of revenue for the power company. That audit resulted in a number of franchise stores and other entities being disconnected from GB Power's grid. After an extensive investigation, the men were hauled before Deputy Chief Magistrate Debbie Ferguson this morning. Italia Hall has the latest.
62-year-old Michael Nemore of number 8 Ringwood Drive and 43-year-old Bernard Clark of South Bahama were arraigned before Magistrate Debbie Ferguson in Court Number 3 on a long list of charges. Nemore, wearing a brown jacket, and Clark in a blue Echo jacket, being concerned together and or with others, were both charged with 14 counts of abstracting electricity. Nemore and Clark were also charged with 14 counts of intentionally and unlawfully causing material damage to conductors and wires, property of the Grand Bahama Power Company. All matters took place sometime between August 2014 and March 2019, and the total amount of electricity used and damage caused amounts to millions of dollars. Nemore was charged along with abstracting electricity between December 2016 to March 2019 and fraudulently using electricity in the amount of $208,003.44. Nemore was also charged with causing damage to conductors and wires, property of the Grand Bahama Power Company, at the Island Seas Resort in the amount of $8,123 that occurred between December 2016 and March 2019. Some of the business establishments involved in the matter are Polo Tropical, KFC, Burger King, Save More Drugstore, and the Island Seas Resort. The accused men both pled not guilty to all of the charges and chose to have their matters heard in the magistrate court. Prosecutor Kelsey Arthur shared his objection for bail for both defendants. He says due to the high amounts owed to the power company and the fact that there are persons who are still to be sought out in connection with the matter. Attorney K. Brian Hanna, representative for Nemore, says, as it relates to the bail objection to abstracting electricity, he disagrees, noting that the men are not owners of the properties named. He then questioned what is there to suggest that his client abstracted electricity, adding that it is alleged that he may have installed some items, but nothing to abstract electricity. Clark's attorney Randall Smith also making the point that the maximum penalty that the court can impose for the charge is $2,800, adding that both accused men have no antecedents and are industrious men in the community with a family. Bail was denied, but the duo can apply to the Supreme Court for bail. The matter was adjourned until July 22nd and 23rd at 11 a.m. It's Halia Hall, ZNS Network News.
From the magistrate's court to the nation's capital, 3 defendants in the Michelle Reckley fraud matter involving more than $1 million in the small homes repair program in Grand Bahama had their charges dropped. The 3, Christopher Simonet, Stephanie Colley, and Kylon Vincent, were told by Magistrate Ambrose Ambrister that the money laundering charges against them were presented in the magistrate's court 6 months after they allegedly occurred, and therefore the court has no jurisdiction to preside over a trial involving them. They told the defendants that the 6-month limitation under the Criminal Procedure Code was taken into account, and as a result, they were free to go. The charges against Michelle Reckley and others for fraud by false pretenses remain. They return to court on October 21st for trial. Police in the Western Division arresting a male and a female after they were reportedly found in possession of a quantity of dangerous drugs. The officers conducted a search of a house in West End on Tuesday morning and reportedly found a quantity of marijuana and cocaine. Both occupants were taken into custody and are expected to be charged before the court for possession of illegal drugs. Police also conducting a search at a house on Bering Lane where they discovered a quantity of suspected marijuana and 6 potted marijuana plants. 2 adult males were arrested. Police also arresting a female for operating an illegal shop. Police say they executed a search warrant at a house on Redwood Lane and Carissa Street and found a quantity of goods and tobacco products for sale, and the female homeowner could not produce a business license. She was arrested and the goods confiscated. 3 males are in police custody following the seizure of an illegal firearm and ammunition in Bimini. Police tell us that shortly after 6 a.m. yesterday, officers executed a search warrant at a home on Kings Highway in Baileytown and discovered a rifle, ammunition, a black holster, and a 9mm clip hidden in the ceiling. 3 occupants were arrested and are expected to be arraigned before the court. A freak accident outside the Grand Bahama Domestic Airport this morning, shutting off power and causing a backup of traffic in that busy area. Italia Hall was on the scene.
According to reports, a female behind the wheel of a Ford F-150 truck accidentally accelerated while in reverse, sending the vehicle out of control. The truck crashed into a wooden utility pole, then into a chain-linked fence, before slamming into 2 parked vehicles. The freak accident causing a traffic pileup as passengers traveling through the domestic airport had to walk across the street with luggage in hand in order to access the terminal, as the road in front of the terminal was blocked off to prevent any further accidents. The down pole caused an interruption in the power supply, and work crews from the Grand Bahama Power Company were called in. Upon arrival, the crews went straight to work to restore electricity. Our ZNS News team spoke with communications executive Cleopatra Russell on the scene.
We received a call about 6:45, 7 o'clock this morning that there was an accident at the domestic side of the Grand Bahama International Airport. Crews were dispatched immediately to assess. We would have realized that there was a pole that was down. We would have contacted our other communication utilities so that we could coordinate to start removing assets from the pole and start repair. We estimated about 2 or 3 hours. We know that the airport is an important thoroughfare over the weekend, so our crews are working expeditiously to have it repaired in a timely fashion so that we can minimize the impact to customers and to the airport. So safety with this is our first priority. We know that there might be somewhat of an inconvenience, but we wanted to make sure that no one's in the work zone or we have no issues while we go ahead and repair the pole.
Now, according to reports, that female driver did not receive any serious injuries. Italia Hall, ZNS Network News.
You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Don't go away. There's more news right after this break.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Dolly Madison, Freeport's original home center.